Another blitz. Hurts takes it right up the gut. Touchdown Eagles. Here's the deep ball. Got hit as he let it go. Oh, Devontae Smith. What a catch. From 54 for the win. On the way. It is there. And the Eagles remain unbeaten.
Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
Howdy.
In surprisingly bright spirits, considering our loss this past Monday to the Seahawks. It was a tough one, 20-17, devastating loss. Last, 20 seconds of the game, final 92-yard drive to close it out. Everything went about as poorly as possible in this game, at least for the ending. We have a few decent things to talk about, a lot of bad things to talk about, but let's hear your initial thoughts on the game this week.
The word of the day is numb. I am numb to this team. I am numb to their play calling. I am numb to getting beat with the Seahawks by Drew Lock, nonetheless, with no timeouts and 1:30 left on the clock. I am numb. I am sad. I don't know anymore. I thought this was going to be a game. The first drive, it's still a great drive into the game, scoring a touchdown right away. And after that, it just was like, come on, every single time. It was just keep biting us in the butt, ourselves in the butt. And it got to us this time. We kicked ourselves all year, and we prided ourselves all year on winning close games. And this game was a close game, and we didn't hold. And that's just bites you in the butt when you don't dominate.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shame. And, watching the game, it didn't feel like it should have been close at all. I mean, not to mention the first half, we were absolutely demolishing them in all facets of the ball. We were shutting them down on defense. We were driving down the field on offense. Once again, kept it a close game by settling for a field goal after that unfortunate Kelsey false start that took us back after the touch push that would have given us, a touchdown. And that one hurt a lot, and those are the kinds of mistakes that can't happen. And I love Jason Kelsey, but he knows that he can't be doing that kind of thing, and he knows he's been warned about it before, and that sucks. See, these are the mistakes that we can't be making, unfortunately, and we are making them this year, and that's the difference. We're not disciplined. We're not making the plays we need to make, and we're not showing up at the right times. And it's becoming clear to everybody that the team's demoralized. The players are demoralized. You're starting to see conversations in the locker room. You're starting to see, outside media trying to pull different things out from people and misconstrue words and make it sound like there's drama in the locker room. And it's not a good look. Everything's falling apart at the wrong time. And I talked about this last week and said this was the game we needed to win to regain any chance of confidence going into the playoffs. And unfortunately, now we're in a position where even if we do perform the next 3 weeks, it's hard to believe if it's true or not, because you're playing against two pretty bad teams. And the worst part is that I'm not even confident in them going into these games. And it's hard to watch them have this kind of collapse because of the way they started out the season and, obviously last year. And they look like they were poised to make the same kind of run this year. And suddenly it just doesn't feel like it. They don't feel like they're in it. The fans are falling out of, favor, and they're going to need a really quick turnaround. And we've been saying this every week for the past 3 weeks, and they're not making changes. Defense is making the same problems late in the game. They're, I don't know if you noticed this, but on that 92-yard drive, every single completion on that drive was against none other than James Bradbury. They were just picking on him. And before you want to go and yell at James Bradbury, once again, I'm going to go back to the freaking coaches. If you're seeing the same guy get torched for every play of the drive, why are you going to leave him on an island for the last one? What are they thinking? What are these coaches thinking in terms of their preparation, their play design, and what they're expecting to happen? Because for every stupid fan out here like myself watching the game, I feel like it's not rocket science to see what they're doing wrong. But why they are having so much trouble figuring it out is beyond me.
Dude, I blame this all on Sirianni now. I'm not even going to go to Matt Patricia, Mr. Pencilman coming in anymore, replacing Sean Desai. Like, I'm done with Sirianni replacing him in week 13. Like, what is it, week 13 now? Week 14? This is week 14. So he did it after week 13, whatever. It just boggles my mind that we're still blaming coordinators at this point. Nick Sirianni has to step in at some point. I know it's not his job to be the play caller, quote unquote, this and that, but he's the head coach of this team. And no matter if he's the players coach and he's a motivator and whatnot, he has to come down to play calling at some point. I'm not saying he has to be the one that does the play calling. I'm just saying he has to like hold him accountable in that coach's room. This has been ridiculous. Like, it's been like, I want to turn to offense because this is all I can think about is the pop screens. And then if you don't do a pop screen, you have freaking 165-pound Devonta Smith blocking out in front blocking. Nonetheless, you're trying to do an RPO, so Jalen doesn't even get out fast enough to the screen. And he doesn't really have the pop time to even get the screen completed. Like, in general, no offense to Jalen, it's not his fault, but like.
Well, it is. Listen, I love Jalen Hurts, and we try our best not to, to trash talk him or criticize him too much, but he's been struggling and he's been having a rough season this year. And blatantly, he can't throw screens. He's not quick enough with it. He simply he never has
play calling done.
I know. I would think the same thing, but clearly they for some reason they feel like pop screens are the equivalent of running the ball. And I don't understand why they could possibly assume it's the same thing whatsoever. And not to mention, when we're running the ball, we look good, and then we go away from it. Every fan in the city knows it. Every coach, every player in that stadium knows it. And for some reason, we still don't do it.
It's absurd. Swift is getting 4.1 yards per carry, and that was over 18 carries. So I'm saying it's just like when we start out drives and he has a 5-yard run on first down, and we just throw the pop screen after. Oh, next thing you know, it's third and short. But it's not even 30 short. It's like 3rd and 6 then because you go back a yard. And you just put yourself in these situations where it's just, gosh, like both sides of the ball just really come on.
And like you said about Sirianni, it is frustrating that Sirianni can't figure this out and get something together because, listen, the bottom line is Sirianni was an offensive coordinator. So good at doing so that he got a head coaching job out of it.
Yeah,
he should know how to run an offense at this point. And I know he does. But why he's letting this happen the way it's happening is a pain in the butt. And it's, it is a tough situation because Brian Johnson, everybody knows Brian Johnson's doing a poor job, including Sirianni, including Hurts, including the whole city of Philadelphia. But the problem is his relationship with Jalen Hurts. And I think that comes a lot into play with the decision-making here. Like, I feel like a lot of people can agree that some change should have been made a while ago. And obviously it's too late. You tried to change Matt Patricia in last week. We're 80% through the season. You can't just switch your coordinators mid-season. Like, that's not what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to make a change sooner. You're the head coach. You make the calls. And he didn't make any calls. He's been letting them do their own thing. He's been letting them drive him into the ground, and he's not taking any responsibility for it. And I'm sick of it. Like, everybody on this team should be held accountable for what they're doing right now. The players are playing poorly. The coaches are making terrible play calling and decision making. And Sirianni is taking no responsibility and no accountability for the actions of everybody else around him, which is what his job is to do. And the team is just in shambles right now. They simply need something to gain their confidence back, which is why, unfortunately, like I said, we as fans are not going to be in it the same way that we were this whole season. We're not going to be in it the same way we were. And that's what I'm disappointed about. But in terms of the players, if they can just go out and perform and play 3 good games to end the season, then they might have some confidence going into the playoffs and might play with a little more edge to them. And that's all I want to see. And I know the fans aren't going to come back in full stride and say, we're back, baby. It's not happening anymore. They blew that chance. It's done. It's gone. But they do need to come out and play 3 good football games to prove to themselves that they belong where they have been all season.
100% agree. And I don't think the fans are going to come out flat. Like, I'm not saying Christmas Day. I guarantee we're going to still have a big, loud crowd. We're going to have everyone there. It's just to talk about it. Like how we're just on this podcast, WIP. It's just those people calling is going to have that. But nonetheless, I'm still cheering for this team. Everyone still wants this team to be good. It's just the fact that what you mentioned with the players in the locker room, when Jalen has to go up to the stand, and he has been so professional in his interviews, not saying a word about teammates, just having people make memes about his quotes and whatnot. When you have him going up and say, we have to get more committed, or to that aspect, something toward that effect of not everyone's committed / whatever, it's because, and I read through the lines. I think, and let me know if I am on the right track, that the players are frustrated with the play calling. I think when they know the play is not going to work, they get frustrated. And then they go out there and they're like, ugh, like this play again. Like, I know, what it's like to have a play that like the coach calls out and you're like, we're really running a kick out again. We're really running this again. Like, it's like, and it's not working. But I don't know if that's what I interpreted. I don't know. How did you interpret his like little comments? I know people were probably blowing it up way too much, but
I think people took it too literally. I think that it was more so that he was just saying as a team, like we're not clicking, we're not doing what we need to do, and we're not, making the changes that need to happen. And I think he is kind of calling out everybody as a whole. He's not calling out anyone specific. He's not trying to, subtly single somebody out or, make anything like that. I wouldn't doubt that people are frustrated with the play call. However, with us, we understand that feeling because we dealt with it in like high school and college, but this ain't that. This is the NFL. We're not idiots. They're not idiots. They're seeing the same things that we are. They're having much more frustration about it considering they're the ones playing the game. So I totally get it. But at what point, I wonder, does Jalen Hurts have the smarts to start making changes to the plays? Like, why can't he make audibles if the play calling is bad and he knows it?
Well, not even audibles. He's just not going through his progressions all the way. And I don't know if that's exactly what it is because I don't know all the progressions, obviously. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. So we want to go down to the last pick of the game. Obviously, everyone's going to say Kenny Gainwell's open right underneath. That's probably one of his lap shots. But the other pick that he threw to A.J. Brown, where Smith is wide open in the flat, it usually goes, if it's 1-2, you come down. That's how
you're supposed to be in your line of view. Your eyes don't have to move to see him.
And I know that's a progression, 100%. And I don't know if he didn't see it or if he just was laser focused on that shot. I know he was sick and whatnot, and he hasn't made that excuse. I'm not going to use that as an excuse because if you're playing, you're healthy.
If you're playing, you're healthy.
I have to judge it as he's healthy. I'm not making excuses. If you played, you're healthy. And
listen, I think that he, I do love Hurts. I have full faith in him being able to figure it out and work on it down the road. But my problem is that's where my problem with the coaching is. The coaching has to be, the field that helps him get better. They have to be the ones that help him get better at his craft and work with him and make sure he's aware of what he needs to be aware of. We've known since watching Hurts since the beginning that he leaves his eyes in one place and throws the ball there. Yeah. He did it last year. He did it the year before. He does struggle with doing that. He knows where he wants to throw the ball before the play, and sometimes he struggles with moving down the progressions. Absolutely. And I think that to an extent, like, yes, he deserves the blame for that, and he needs to get better at it, but he is still a young quarterback. At what point are the coaches going to start emphasizing and pointing out to him these problems and, like making sure that he's aware of it? Because it doesn't feel like he's aware of it. Like, it doesn't –
that awareness and the fact that we're getting zone ran against us so much more this year because we don't run the football. Like, they were playing man. I lost the stat I had earlier, but it's at a significantly less rate this year because obviously he wants to go up and give Smitty and give AJ and give our playmakers a chance to get the ball. Our man, we don't get man this year because they don't have to stack the box for anything because we don't run the football. Our offense was so dominant running the football last year that you're forced to go man on the outside because it sets it up. That's where it comes down to coaching. I know.
Absolutely. We've been saying it every game of the year this year, dude. I mean, it's not rocket science. If you're running the ball, it forces the players to move up. When the players move up, you can throw the ball behind them more often. It's that simple. It's just like it is not rocket science. But for some reason, it is to these coaches, and I don't understand.
On a deep ball to Kez, even when we're running that play, right? We're up 17-13. We're up over a field goal possession. We are running it all the way down to the 50. And we get right over to 50, and then that's like we're winning. guys, we are win. That's like a play if you're losing a football game. I just don't know why they're having a need to make like these big plays all the time, especially when we have the lead. We just make these are mistakes that just are not necessary. Nonetheless, like obviously it was PI, and you want to say whatever you want to say, but just that shot in general, we are dominating them. We were able to run the ball, and you saw flashes of it. And then when we go back to just, I'm not saying never take a shot downfield. I'm not saying this and that. I'm just saying these are like just why can't we just chip, go.
And they refuse to break away from the game plan they have going on. They've become so predictable that anyone and their grandmother can predict it. You were texting me during the game, you predicted like 4 or 5 plays in a row.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
you have Christian McCaffrey on live TV with the Mannings predicting the play exactly. You know what's coming. Like everyone knows what's coming, including the freaking defenses we're playing.
It's like so odd because even during training camp, they had the same formations for the QB draw. Like the reason he knew the QB draw so well is the same thing I texted you. It's because they line up in the same formation for that same exact play since I watched training camp when I went to the training camp practice. Like it's been ridiculous. And obviously that's a guy who's been studying this all offseason. He's been watching like everyone after you're a Super Bowl champion wants to obviously that's all the tape they get. More tape.
It's one thing for a pro that watches film to understand what's coming. It's another thing for every fan to be sitting on their couch knowing what's coming.
It's ridiculous. Like I just, God.
It's frustrating. They're not making adjustments. They haven't all year, and it's been really frustrating to watch. We thought they had the talent to make it happen regardless, but the second they lost confidence in themselves, it became clear that talent is not as shining as we thought it was. And like as soon as their egos take a hit, they're all of a sudden looking very mediocre, and they're still just not making adjustments to put my problem is that they're not making adjustments to put the players in better positions, like to suit them. Yeah. Like in this game, when we ran the wide zone or inside zone running play, we picked up huge chunks. If we ran a slant in or out route, we picked up chunks. We're running digs and posts and skinny corners and stuff like that. You're picking up good yards. Hurts throws the ball really well over the middle. He throws the ball really well within 15 to 5 yards, and I don't want him to become a dink and dunk quarterback, but until he's comfortable again, put him in a position to do things that he's comfortable doing.
That's what sets it up. If he keeps taking the checkdowns, like I'm not saying, and I was hating it, like obviously I've been hating all year on Brock Purdy and everything for taking it. If just keep going with it. If it works, why are you gonna it's not you don't have to
outthink yourselves. You don't need to be the hero. Like you are the hero if you just perform the way you're supposed to. And Hurts does a really good job when he's passing in these short yardage situations and picking up little chunks. We don't have to move down the field in these big plays. We haven't been good at it this year. So stop trying to force it. It'll come if it's available. And when you start running these, like you said, the setup, if you start running these dink and dunk plays a lot and maybe run one deep ball in the game, it has a pretty high chance of working, at least a lot higher than it does right now. And it's just infuriating that they keep trying to push these things to work that aren't working, and they completely and blatantly ignore the things that are working for them. They just throw it away. They use it so sparingly. And they insist on using the screens and the deep balls, and not to mention that the timely play calling is always atrocious. You'll be in a second and 2, and he'll throw a deep ball, and then on 3rd and 2, they'll run a QB draw. And I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching this elementary play calling, this lack of responsibility from everybody on the sideline, that nobody's trying to make a difference in something how is there however 100 many guys in that organization and nobody's saying, are we crazy? Are we doing something wrong? Why are we not making changes? And you're telling me nobody is saying these things and they're not trying to work on it? And I find it hard to believe. They have to be. But why is it not showing in the games? And why is it clear that they just don't want to run the ball and they don't want to make changes to their playbook?
It's ridiculous. And I think the most poetic part about it is how the Seattle came out at half. Kenneth Walker passed or Kenneth Walker rush. Kenneth Walker rush. 15 yards, 7 yards, 7 yards, 7 yards, 15 yards. All the way down until he gets a 23-yard touchdown. And it just kept going until it didn't work. It's like, wow, that was dominant by
Oh,
Kenneth
wow,
Walker.
they can't stop it? Let's just wait until they do.
I was like, wow, I wish we could do that with Swift one time. Like we did it with Swift when he ran for 200 yards, but let's never do that again because, we wouldn't want it to work. We wouldn't want it. I just.
We got to outsmart these guys, We don't want them thinking that we can do it again. I don't.
Last year, we were so dominant, just running it down their throats, and that's what set up everything else. And now I feel like, and I don't actually mean this comparison, but I feel like Jalen Hurts is just scrambling around the court. He's looking like Carson Wentz trying to do too much, like when Carson Wentz went downhill. And I'm not saying
the whole season's looking eerily similar to the 2020 Eagles, and
it's disgusting. And it's making me sick to even say that out loud because I don't think that's what this team is. I'm not saying that's their identity because it hasn't been that all season. But if you look at the little parts of the half a game of the Bills, we were god awful in the first half. We looked like god awful, and in the second half we exploded. We haven't had a full game of dominance, and it's just ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous how this team cannot dominate another inferior team. And we're going to have the last 3 weeks to prove it. But, God damn, you got to get it together.
That right now. It's hard to have confidence. And I think the players feel the same way. And I don't mean to tear down the players. It sucks. I hate, feeling like an asshole because, obviously we're guys just sitting here on our couches talking about the game, We're obviously not better than these guys. These guys go out and play their asses off and do their thing week in and week out, and it's incredibly impressive. But it does hurt a little bit when even to the fans, it feels like their heart just isn't in the right place. And it's a shame because not to mention that the players feel like fools right now for, a lot of people are talking about this is one of the worst 10-4 football teams ever. It feels that way.
That's recency. That's too recency.
Of course it is. There's not a whole lot of 10-4 teams to put into comparison. That's a weird, super random statistic. But I'm just saying that it's we don't feel like I can't think of a team in recent memory that had this good of a record that felt like they were just so fraudulent in what they're doing right now, and.
Jacksonville a couple weeks ago.
I guess to some
they were 8-3. They were 8-3 a couple weeks ago. Now they're 8-6.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they were playing some really crappy teams to get that. At no point I guess that's the same thing. At no point this season have I felt like they've been a good team.
But to be fair, this happens to every team. It just happened. It's just very recent. And at the end of the season, when you're playing top tier teams, no one's going to talk about the 3 games Chester Browns had, right? I mean, the Niners had when they lost to the Browns, Vikings, and Bengals. No one's ever gonna talk about that now, right? Because that's what
everyone was so much earlier in the season.
Exactly, I know. That's what I mean. But when that was happening, they were talking like that. But obviously now there's no one that can ever beat them in the entire world.
It's a lot more comforting for it to happen in the middle of the season than before the playoffs. Absolutely,
I 100% agree. But to the same point, I just can't veer off that. The path of giving the same. I'm not trying to give them slack because I can't. This team is garbage right now.
They're too good to be doing this bad, and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
And we know they have the talent. We know that they're capable. We've seen them do it. We saw them do it for 10 straight games. We know they're capable of doing anything they feel like they put their minds to. It's frustrating to feel like they're not putting their mind to it right now. It feels like they're not putting and I hate to say they're not putting effort because I'm sure they're putting in a ton of effort, but it just doesn't feel that way. You're not seeing any changes. They're talking about all week, these changes that they're going to do. Nick Sirianni's in the press conference saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to run the ball more." When are we going to see it, Nick? That's my problem.
But they just don't do it at the right times. They'll do it every time on first. They did it a lot of times on first down this game, a lot of times on second down, and it worked. But they just don't do it.
They just don't keep it up.
They don't do it a string of times. I don't understand why. I don't know if it felt like to me in that game like a pitcher on a pitch count. Like you're like, all right, 18 touches for Swift, we can't go over 20 with that. Okay, we got Gainwell in for 2. All right, we got you. I felt like Little League when you're like, all right, Matt, how many innings you play on the bench? You got to go in for 2. Joe, you got to come out. Like
it does.
That's what it feels like right now, and it's like why? And just like why can we not do things that consistently work? My one question is, who do you want to put? Who do you put? Do you just put it on everyone, or who do you put the blame most on in this game? You could blame Bradbury, Sirianni, Hurts.
Well, I'm not putting it on Bradbury. Simply, I do. Obviously, Bradbury has been underperforming this year, but Bradbury is a simple fix of giving him some help in coverage, and they still refuse to do it. So that comes down to the coaches again, and. On the hard question does come down to, especially in this game, whether it was Hurts or the coaching, because the coaches aren't out there making Hurts try to toss the ball downfield and underthrow him by 30 yards and, throw a pick. Like Hurts did play terrible. I mean, he had a bad game. And, but overall, I've been saying the same problem all year. And I absolutely think that the big blame is on the coaches. I don't think, although the players are playing poorly, I don't think the coaches are putting them in a good enough position to, work around their strengths. They're not giving them a chance to find any rhythm in their game. And they're trying to force them to do things they're uncomfortable doing. And it's just not a winning recipe. And the coaches are the only ones that can, change how they set up the game plan to work for our players. And they haven't made any changes. So
I said Sirianni earlier, and I blamed him a lot, but I'm blaming this all on Hurts. I'm blaming him in general. So when he has that mood, we all love the non-expression face, like, and he's focused, zoned in, and everything. But when you're like losing, and you're not like talking to you're not communicating with each other, he's just sitting there and he sits by himself, right? All the way alone. It's like people are afraid to talk to him. Like if I'm pissed off mood, like no one's gonna like, you don't want to talk to me. Like why would you come over and talk to me? And you can't tell if he's pissed off, happy, whatever the hell he is. That just when you see guys, and this is what I was thinking about. Yeah, obviously when you're winning, it's cool. Like you're calm, cool, collected. And if you make a mistake, calm, cool, collected. And obviously that's who he is. But you see guys like Peyton Manning, you see the Tom Brady's, they're up and down the sideline, working the sideline. We got to do this better. Getting in this open line's face, you false start. And I know that's not his personality, but how much do you think that just kind of pains me that, like, at the same as we're all collapsing, like you have to lift everyone up. You are the heart. You're the franchise guy of this team, and if you're not going out of your way, and I hope he is during practice, but I never like other than AJ, him standing there by AJ when AJ was getting all pissed off a while ago. You know when that was, right before, like week 4 or whatever it was. Like I don't ever see him like going up and down the sidelines trying to talk. Like Brian Johnson will come over to him once in a while, but like I just don't understand why. It's weird, dude. It's just like I don't know if it's a frustration thing. I don't know what it is, but I'm not trying to change his personality and character. I'm just saying like it's just kind of
I mean, I completely agree with you. Although I do think that there's different kinds of leadership, and two of the most common ones are lead by example and lead by words. And I don't think Jalen Hurts has always been the lead by words guy. Although he comes out and has his motivational quotes and stuff like that. He's not the big rah-rah guy he's never been the big rah-rah guy that shows a ton of emotion. So that is kind of the personality that he's always had. However, I do agree with you in the fact that at some point you have to do what's best for the team as a leader. And right now they need somebody getting in their faces and trying to hype them back up and make them feel like they have a leader that wants us to win this game, wants the will us to win this game. And Jalen Hurts is not giving that vibe right now. And I don't think anybody on the team is giving that vibe right now. And I think they need somebody like that. And to that extent, I do think it's something that Hurts has to work on. As a leader, you have to work to everybody's strengths, not just yours. And, when things are going south, you got to prove that you can be there for everybody. And right now, it doesn't feel like anybody's there for anybody. And as soon as we stop winning, it feels like the team's suddenly, starting to have some issues with each other and starting to fall apart a little bit. And that cannot happen. It's been 3 weeks. Like you said, the 49ers did this year. The Cowboys did this year. Like You can't let this happen off of a 3-game skid. You just can't.
Yeah.
You went on a 10-game winning streak.
Two of them are maybe the top 3 teams in NFL, like Niners 1 and then maybe the Cowboys 3, whatever you want to put them, but they're both up there. And it's, I would say, top 2 in the NFC, but nonetheless, like we're not even talk about the Giants game. This is just all leading up to it, and we're just gonna just run through the Giants game, because if we don't perform in these last 3 games, this season is looking rough, man. I know we already clinched a playoff spot, but like, and I really want to play at home. And the one seed is looking further and further from happening, and you need the Niners to lose 2 now for even us to get it. It's
we ain't getting the 1 seed, but we do still have a chance to win the division.
We have to win out, and this is a team that definitely can, and these are teams you're definitely able to beat, and you're gonna be double digits favorites over all these teams. And I know that for a fact, but what type of, like, they just need to wake up, like, in general, like at every aspect of the ball, even on false starts. And Landon Dickerson's not even playing this game, but like the stupid penalties, like everything is our tackling on defense is atrocious, dude. Atrocious. I would like to say Ringo had a decent game, but Sidney Brown I thought he was a surefire tackler. He was not making tackles last game.
No, he was not. He was struggling.
He's
a hard hitter. He's a hard hitter. He's not a good tackler.
Yeah, Reed's a good tackler. Sidney Brown just
Sidney Brown, he plays with fire. I like it, but he's a little too wily right now. He's not under control enough. He's still got a lot to learn before he's fully ready.
Shaq Leonard is a disappointment and a half to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough for any player to, walk into an organization in the middle of the season and just start performing. It's definitely tough. But at the same time, you do have to look at it as he was cut from his job for a reason. He definitely has taken a step down in his effort and his ability to play the game. And, he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot of wear and tear. And he's definitely, out of what I'm watching from him on the field, he does not look like he really wants to be there that much. Like, he looks like he's going through the motions. He's always standing on the outside of piles. He's not quick through the line. He's not explosive. He just looks slow.
Yeah, and that hurts our defense, because when our linebackers cannot blitz and our safeties can't really blitz, and we can't even do it. We can't play man because, you
can't throw blitzes at them because we don't get there. We never get there.
And it's
you barely even notice they're throwing blitzes at them because somehow everybody's blocked somehow.
Yeah. And
you'll send 8 guys at the quarterback, and somehow everyone's blocked.
Like, oh my goodness, dude. Are there any positives from this game that you even want to say?
I do think so. I think they came out hot. I think they came out great, and they were playing to their strengths off the rip. They started out controlling the time of possession, took like 8 minutes down the field in the first drive, scored right away. They were making the short passes that Jalen Hurts is comfortable with, running the ball in between. The pacing was good. The play calling was nice. And they did that for about 2 drives, and then they flushed away from it. And that was what frustrated me. It irritates me to see them do things good and then move away from them. They've been doing it all year. I don't really understand it. And, the defense looked great in the beginning too. I thought they were playing well. They were shutting down Locke. They were shutting down the run game. They really weren't getting a whole lot going. They punted the ball a couple times. Everything started well. It looked like we were dominating the game. It felt like we were dominating the game. And then all of a sudden, one quick turnaround of kicking 3 points, then letting them run down the field. Now it's a 10-7 game. Now nobody's as confident as they were at the beginning. And that's what's hurting this team. Is I think the biggest thing that's killing this team right now is just everybody's confidence. I think they're just as much in panic mode as the fans are. You saw clips of their practice where it looked like they were really going back to the fundamentals and the basics, and they're freaking out. They don't know what to do, and it's scary. And I don't know what voice of reason is going to come out in that locker room, whether it's a coach or a player or a staff member. I don't care if it's the freaking janitor. somebody has to step up and say something and make a change. And until then, I think we're going to be dealing with the same problems.
Dude, when he brought up the practice stuff, they were practicing the Jalen fumbles, and Jalen's face after was couldn't help but laugh. But he's just so pissed off that he's doing it, and I know that he has to work on it and everything, and they're making everyone do it. But it's just like you're doing like high school drills in the pros, and I know it's sometimes good to get back to the fundamentals and whatnot, but like it's just like I don't know like what the like emotion in this locker room is at all. I don't have no idea if they have any confidence in themselves or / want to be there. Like
I think people are losing confidence in all facets. I think people are like, it feels like players are losing confidence in themselves. They're losing confidence in the coaches. They're losing confidence in the way this team is ran. And it just feels like the culture that felt so pure and energetic and ready for another championship run at the beginning of this year, it just feels so much the opposite. And it's hard to believe that we're in the same season that we started in. Like, it just like, it feels like it's been so short yet so long. And, you know, it sucks to look at 3 games and feel like it's the whole season. But the way we did it is just so glaring that it's hard not to. And, you know, like, you want to look at it as like, are you going to talk about the 3-game losing streak or the 10-game winning streak? But the 10-game winning streak didn't look that impressive.
It's a bunch of like, I hated how Slay came out. He's such a me guy. He's like, oh, vote for me for the Pro Bowl. Look at me. And like, oh, I didn't play last week. It's fine. Like, I didn't play. AJ Brown, look at me. Like, why don't you throw to me? Me. I feel like they're just too many me guys right now. And I don't know why they haven't been like this.
I know they haven't. They weren't like this last year. They didn't start the
really
season
weird.
this way. Like,
it's really odd. Like,
it's so strange.
You will never hear AJ take any responsibility for, like, literally, like if he says anything responsible, you can see he has he's like reading. It's like basically like an index card like this, like reading like when people do this apologies, like, I am sorry for hitting you in the face, Matthew Mitchell, and like looking back,
like John Morant's Chat GPT apology. You know,
like this is where this is. If this locker room goes down, this entire thing's going down. It doesn't matter how much time you have.
That's what everybody's so scared of. That's what I'm scared of. It's feeling that way, and it's happening so fast that I don't know what somebody's gonna do about it. Like, I don't. It's hard. It's very hard.
And at this point, it's not going to happen. The type of confidence that this locker room's having, it's not just on the field. Something has to happen in that locker room. Like, something has to happen off the field. And it's not going to be Sirianni switching coaches. Stupid Matt Patricia. I hate looking at him, dude. I really hate looking at him. He has a laminate sheet and he has a pencil in his ear. Like, why? It's laminated.
Every coach's playing sheet is laminated. Relax.
Why does he have a pencil in his ear?
I don't know, man.
I hate looking at him.
Hey, I can't lie. I felt I wanted to feel more confident in him than Desai, but the bottom line of it,
right in the box calling the same crap.
I know.
It's not your big switch up Sirianni. Then he goes over and says, like, this is all Matt Patricia, by the way. This is Matt Patricia's defense. Just like, you had to do that right now. That's really helping, buddy. That's really, I mean, yeah, we had a decent game but this isn't like the best offense in the freaking league. Anyway, we are going really long. Let's get into the Giants game, looking into this week. I need score prediction, how this game's going to go. And
yeah, well, there's not much to review going into this game because obviously, looking at it on paper, we're playing the Giants. This should be an easy win. They are not a good team. They've been playing on a little bit of a hot streak lately, but it doesn't mean that they're a talented team. They don't have a great roster. This should be, in all ways, it should be a pretty easy win, but I can't say I feel that way right now. So, like I said, not much to review. I'm hopeful that they're going to make some changes going into this week and, learn from the film that we watched last week. They are a step down from the Seahawks, and the Seahawks had to give their best game to beat us nonetheless. And the Giants are going to have to do their same. So I am still going to say the score is going to be 27 to Nah, 20.
Wow, that would be sad if they put up 20 points on us. I would be very upset.
I can't say I'm confident in our defense right now.
That would be very sad to see. And if we don't win by I need a 3.
Listen, I'm expecting 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals from them.
I'm thinking 38-10. And I need to see this team dominate. I think this team can dominate. I don't think Tommy DeVito is good. I don't think the Giants defense is good at all.
I can't lie. I kind of like Tommy DeVito for so far. Not just because he's Tommy Cutlets, but I've actually been slightly impressed with how quick he is. First of all, he's definitely really quick out of the pocket.
Yeah, he is quick out of the pocket.
And secondly, he's made some pretty good throws on the run. Like he makes some pretty good dot throws sometimes. I haven't watched enough of his games to say how consistent he is, but I've definitely seen him make some pinpoint throws. So I mean, he's definitely got a little bit of potential.
Well, I will say from watching him that in the wins he hasn't thrown the ball that much. His completion percentage is fantastic. He doesn't make bad throws. He won't I don't know if he has interception on the year. Does he? Or in the win streak, he hasn't had an interception. Like he's been just taking what the defense gives him and just going with it. And it hasn't been super wow, like as much as we make it because the media likes to hype up the all the.
Yeah, but listen, man. I mean, they were a bottom of the list worst team in the league, and now they were above the Commanders in the division rank. So like they've gone on a little bit of a run. They're playing on a hot streak, and this is the difference of a team playing with confidence versus a team not playing with confidence. A team with all the talent but no confidence, and a team with no talent but all the confidence in the world. And it's going to be a close game.
I don't think it's going to be close.
Believe me, I hope you're right. For the love of God, I hope you're right. But I obviously don't feel that way, with what we've been seeing lately. And I think that confidence makes that big of a difference that you're going to see the difference it makes.
I just can't. Other than the Packers game, that was really close, and the Giants won. It's not an impressive win beating the Commanders for me, even though we struggle with the Commanders. This might suck, but I don't care about the 3-11 Patriots either. But nonetheless, we should kill this team.
Yeah, man. You can keep looking at paper all you want. Those 2 teams are going to line up on the field across from each other, and one team's walking out with confidence, one team's not. And it ain't us. So I'm still worried.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas, Matt. Believe.
They should wear the fucking Kelly Greens to give everybody a spark back.
They're not allowed to. Hey, we're wearing the all blacks though, so maybe that'll do something.
Not all blacks. Still got the green helmets.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
our alternate helmet this year is the Kelly Green. Last year it was the black helmet.
I was gonna use a bad choice of words there. That's silly. Stupid.
Well, the last time we wore the combination was against the Giants, so maybe it's a good omen. Who knows?
God, I really need to smoke this team.
Really. Yeah, man, we definitely need to. So, but since we are running along, I'm gonna cut us off here. It's been a rough week for Eagles fans. We've all been going through it internally, having a rough, depressive state all week, trying to deal with this, but. We're working through it. The players are working through it. Hopefully we see them make a big turnaround this week against the Giants and show everybody that they are still the team that they need to be and, give themselves a little more confidence going into this playoff run. So thank you guys for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate you guys tuning in, but a like always does us some good. So please feel free to hit that thumbs up button. And, please feel free to join us back here again next week to, review the game and go over next week's game against the Cardinals. And hopefully we'll be back in a much better mood, being able to, talk about some positive things rather than, crap talking our team all day. So
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to y'all.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. Go Birds. We'll see you guys next week.